Hi there, Colin Lamb here. I hope you're doing very well wherever it is that you may happen to be. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for asking. Cheers to you and cheers to me. And Happy New Year. This video is going to be a response to a reel I put up on Instagram that got just about 10,000 views and a load of comments and discussion. I also put it up on YouTube. Nobody seemed to care. That's fine enough. But it's about Lars Ulrich and the boatload of hate that man seems to garner online. I said that I've been noticing videos coming up recently. Maybe it's because I just watched one and then it just slipped into my algorithm and said, oh, this fucking bald guy clearly hates Lars. Let's just keep showing him how everybody else hates Lars. But I did put up a video which was kind of defensive to Lars because I do think that a lot of the hatred towards him is absurd. So we're going to take a quick look at that video and then we're going to get into some of the comments that came in. And then we're going to look at a montage of Lars performing Battery live from 89 until 2024 and we'll see what that looks like. So let's get right into it. Let's take a look at that video that I made over on Instagram right now. So there's been a lot of Lars Ulrich negativity floating around on social media lately, including this video I found on YouTube Shorts that has the caption, "The Day That Metallica Played with an Actual Drummer," which features the members of Metallica playing with Dave Lombardo. Now, you can dislike Lars for his personality from documentaries or perhaps his behavior during the whole Napster fiasco, but you can't say that he's a bad drummer. Drumming has come a long way since the heydays of Metallica, and while a lot of players have gotten technically better, there is something to be said for playing the song. He's had a great creative impact on the band and has definitely been involved with lyric writing and arrangement over the years. And all great bands are the sum of their parts. Lars might not be a great drummer by today's standards, but he's by no means a bad drummer. He is, in fact, the drummer of Metallica. All right, and now let's take a look at some of the comments that came in. So, Gnarly Poet 82, who's actually a friend of mine in the real world, said, "Well said, serve the song." So I did mention that Lars, generally speaking, serves the song, and I mentioned that he's does arrangements, and as I said in the video, he's not a spectacular drummer. I don't think he's a spectacular drummer. I don't think anybody would say so. I replied to a lot of these comments with the same comment saying that basically Metallica is AC/DC with more notes. And to that end, I think Lars does just fine. This guy said he's the Meg White of drumming. And this is your classic internet comment. You know, it's irony and kind of just a stock dig that a lot of people like to throw around. A lot of people like to find somebody who's kind of maligned a little bit and then pile onto them, and Meg White certainly fits that. I mean, I listen to the White Stripes, and I've never thought that the drumming was missing anything. The White Stripes, not unlike Metallica, is somewhat formulaic, and it's just a backbeat in the White Stripes. It's catchy, hooky, pentatonic blues-based stuff with just solid backbeats. And I've never thought that they lack anything drumming-wise. I'm not a big fan of the White Stripes, but I definitely don't think that her drumming holds them back in any way. And something that we're going to talk about a little bit more. I mean, I think in this current age, there's a lot of overplaying, and there's a lot of internet virtuosos who never play on one hit or, for that matter, decent songs. So to criticize somebody like Lars or Meg for just playing what should be played to the song, I think is a little bit ridiculous. So this guy said Dave Lombardo, and I did show the clip of Dave Lombardo supposedly finally unlocking fucking Metallica and making them sound like a real band, or whatever the hell it is people said. But this person said Lombardo was from the same era, and that video is old as hell. So yes, the video of him playing, of Lombardo playing with Metallica, is a bit old. I am aware of that. Creative contribution gets Lars a pass, which is, yes, what I kind of said there in my video. Others wouldn't get, but Metallica's last few albums have been mediocre at best. If they weren't released by Metallica, nobody would have cared. That's very true, but let me tell you something. If the Rolling Stones' last few albums weren't released by the Rolling Stones, nobody would care about them. What does that mean? What does that prove to anything? Yes, we love our favorite bands. We continue to support them. I'll go and listen to something like the Rolling Stones or the Beatles' new tracks just because I love those bands and I'm hoping that I might hear something great. Or, you know, like in the case of the Beatles track that came out a while ago, that was a huge video. I did a reaction to them on my channel. It was like 20 some odd thousand views. It was a huge video for me. And the reason is because a lot of people love the Beatles, and it's fun to kind of open up that that book again. You know, you get burnt out listening to your favorite bands, and you will check out those albums hoping that it can kindle something. And a lot of the times when I hear something like the Stones put out a new album, which I didn't think was particularly great. I made some pretty stupid comments myself on the production of the song they did, Sweet Sounds of Heaven with Lady Gaga. You can check out the dumb things I said about that on my channel. But it wasn't great. But I did go back and listen to the Stones catalog again, and I did listen to that album. It was okay. But yeah, nobody would often care about some of these legacy acts' new music if it wasn't attached to them. Duh, they're fucking huge acts. Everything they do, you know. If Lars fucking farts in a pool and he maybe ate a burrito the night before and the water turns brown, that's gonna be headline news. If I do it, I'm just not gonna be going to the pool for a while. Anyways, this person said, how being involved in lyrics makes him a good drummer, and why would anyone come out to defend a childish millionaire? Childish Millionaire, that's your opinion? Yeah, I mean, we've all seen Lars talk in public. We've all seen him talk on the documentaries. He seems like a bit of a tiring person to be around. He's opinionated. He speaks his mind. Sometimes maybe he doesn't think about what he's saying. He comes off a little brash. I will be the first to admit it. And as I said in the original video, his personality probably rubs people the wrong way, but they're fucking huge. He's done interviews, and whether you like him or not, he does throw himself out there personally. So I do respect somebody that doesn't try and, you know, tailor and cater everything they say to kind of maintain an image that they want to portray. And actually, I think he's got a podcast that he did a while back, but I've seen him in longer form podcasts, and I've enjoyed listening to him. But why would I defend a millionaire? Because I just I don't know why. I just kept seeing this stuff, and it just doesn't wash with me. As somebody who kind of makes videos, it's very tempting to just go to a negative place and just hate on something. And that's kind of something that I've looked at in my channel. I've covered bands like Fish, and who get, you know, who are the butt end of a lot of the jokes. You can check that out on my channel. I've covered Greta Van Fleet, who definitely suffer criticism, and then I just find it fascinating how people can have such giant opinions about something, but they put nothing into the world of value. And yeah, I'm a bald guy sitting here talking on YouTube, but I try and stay positive about things, and there are things that I really don't like and could get into in this very video about modern drumming, but I'm not really going to go there because it's not constructive. You know, you can like something or not and just walk by it and leave it alone. But I just think it's funny after all these years, there's still frothed up guys in bedrooms getting angry about Lars's drumming. So this person with Hetfield BCN, so clearly he's a fan, says he's good at arrangements and worked hard to promote the band in the beginning, but yeah, he's a bad drummer, and they wanted to fire him many times. And I said, can you explain one sourced occasion that they wanted to fire him? And this person said, read Birth, Metallica, Death, which I did not. I did not have the time in the 2 weeks that elapsed, which also contained Christmas and Raising a 2-Year to read that book. But he says there's sourced evidence where they wanted to get rid of him. And he references again that Lars worked hard on arrangements and stuff like that. I think when you look at the documentary, he's heavily involved in the production of the albums. But I can't imagine they would want to get rid of him purely because he's a wretched drummer. I think he would have been gone by now. They got rid of Dave Mustaine. And that guy's clearly talented. So I don't think Lars would have survived in the band. Did his ability to arrange and help craft the songs and the lyrics maybe give him a little more stock and trade, as opposed to a guy like Newsted who came in, who didn't have any pull whatsoever. I don't know. Maybe Lars was maybe he's the ringleader in the band. Who the hell knows? Maybe it was something more than talent. Maybe his abilities have kept him in the band. I don't know, but I don't think that should be overlooked anyways. It's kind of insulting. Play anything off those first 4 albums and get back to me. Talk shit all you want. He still sells out stadiums. So this person was kind of defending Lars, and those are valid points that I pointed out in the comments as well. You know, like, he still does play stadiums. Those shows sell out. I was looking to go see them here in South Australia next year, but the tickets are too expensive for me. And that's another point. I'm not a massive Metallica fan. I was when I was younger, but there are only bad seats available, and they're still like $250, and I'd have to get down there and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to go see them because they are a bit of a legacy act to me, but I don't think that, you know, sitting around and bashing Lars just serves any purpose. And it kind of just exposes people's pettiness and their own lack of achievement and self-worth, I think. I guess you never seen him live. This kind of touches on what we were just talking about. I've seen him 3 times, and he was completely horrible all 3 times. Sure, he can write good stuff and take 2 months to record it once they edit all his takes out, because he can't play anything all the way through. He has to do 1 fill at a time. How do you do 3 fills at a time? You know, you got 6 arms. What do you mean he has to do? Oh, I guess maybe in the recording or whatever. I don't know. I can tell you, I've been to the studio with guys who are pretty good. They still do multiple takes. There's a lot of drum edits. That's very common these days. But I will say, back in the old days when they were doing reel-to-reel stuff and on tape, I don't think you could do as much editing without it turning into complete dog shite. So, yeah, I think, and there's definitely been some comments about him getting worse as time goes by, and people saying that he doesn't practice, which I think is what we have here. This person said nice bait, insinuating that my video was bait. And you know what? Just based on the pure amount of views that thing got over on Instagram, it was kind of baity, but it was also my opinion. I was just expressing a take. But this person says nice bait. It's like we can't say Axl Rose or the dude from Motley is a bad singer. They all used to be good, but years or even decades ago. And if you can't play the things you wrote years ago, there's something really wrong. Lars wasn't paralyzed like Nico. I'm not too sure who he's referring to there when he says Nico. And to be honest, his parts aren't super hard. He was never near Hake or Gartska level, and it just means that he doesn't practice his drumming or give the best show. To me, it's a lack of respect for the fans who paid hundreds of dollars to see him. Long story short, yes, Lars is a bad drummer now. Yes, we can say it loud. And yes, Dave showed how it should be played. Okay, so a couple of points in there saying that he's gotten worse and that he shouldn't be playing. Well, we're going to take a look at a video compilation of from 1989 to the current day, and we'll see if there has been a marked decline there. I think, I mean, really and truthfully, they can go on tour, you know, playing in any state, in any condition, and whether people want to go see it or not is kind of up to the relationship that the band has to those fans over the years. You know, I saw Black Sabbath a couple of years back in 2018, and they didn't take Bill Ward on tour because they felt it was insinuated that he couldn't quite pull it off anymore, and that's a shame. I would have gladly gone and seen the band with Bill Ward as long as he was passable, as long as he was on sort of Lars level. That would have been fine by me. But yeah, if they can't do it, like I did see video footage of Axl singing, it's not great. And definitely Motley Crue, it's just not great. I would not feel great about going to see that. That being said, everybody's seen those videos and the tours continue to sell out. And what are you really going to see at this point when you go see a band like Metallica or Motley Crue? Are you going to see, you know, the greatest performance of all time, or are you going to see a band that you've loved and you're going there to see them physically as much as you're going there to hear them play? And I think there's a big difference between Axl Rose and Lars with regards to execution and regards to Buddy from Motley Crue there. I think there's a pretty big difference in the performance, which we are going to take a look at. And I can observe things honestly and comment on them honestly. Lars has never been an amazing drummer, and if we're being completely honest, James has never been an amazing vocalist, but they are co-founders of one of the biggest bands in the world. How many people can say that? I can't say that. You can't say that. There's probably less than 100 people alive who can say that, and probably less than 50 of them are still performing today with any sort of relevance. And as I said in the video, most great bands, and especially in the case of Metallica, are the sum of their parts. All right, so those were the kind of salient comments. We got a lot of the same stuff, and there were just some base level rude comments that we won't even give any breath here on YouTube. But I do thank those people over on Instagram for those comments and for the conversation. That's kind of why I do this channel, is for the conversation and for I guess the debate at the end of the day sometimes is what it devolves down to. But one thing is not debatable. Metallica is still selling out stadiums. So let's take a look at some of those sold out stadiums and see if Lars can still play it live. These I've got 5 videos, I think, here. The first one's the album version of Battery. I chose Battery because that was one that kind of came up in the comments quite a bit about people saying he couldn't play Battery, and then the video, of course, that was in my video of Dave Lombardo was them playing Battery. So I chose that one. So first we're going to look at the album version, then we're going to look at performances from '89 all the way up until today. So let's take a listen to the album. So I chose that particular segment of the song because I knew it'd be easy to find, and also because that's a part that I remember about that song. It's quite the breakdown. It's pretty fast, and it's got to be right going in. And like I say, a lot of people referenced him not being able to play songs like Battery, and I thought it would be a good shout to take a listen to that. So this is from the summer tour of '89. This was from a professional video that they put out at the time, but I chose all these clips more or less at random. I just typed in Metallica live 1-9 and so on and so forth, and just grabbed the first Battery that I found so that it would kind of be impartial. These aren't cherry picked at all. That was from the '89 tour. Little thing about that video is obviously that one was kind of heavily produced and filmed. I don't know how much editing they did on that audio wise, but I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me. So let's take a listen to Reading live 1997, and we're gonna have the short-haired, heavily grunge influenced Metallica here. So yeah, there's the, I think it was Load and Reload era short-haired flaming motif guitar Metallica. Perfectly fine performance. Would have been happy going to see that, if I'm honest with you. We did have James kind of going, I'm the one there, kind of distracted the drumming a bit there. I've seen some people insinuate that James will do something sometimes to try and get Lars back onto the beat. I don't think that was the case there. I think they were going pretty hard there. And yeah, I would have been happy to be at that performance. Let's take a look at Live Washington 2009. So that performance, I'll say it sounded a little sloppier than the '89 performance from everybody, which is one thing that we should talk about, is how they all maybe had a little bit of slop, and that these are live performances and live musicians, and they're not auto-tuned, and they're guitar players and drummers are athletes, and there's a lot of moving parts to consider there. It's not slow music. So I don't know. I would have been happy watching that. But let's take a look at this live one from 2024 now. We're skipping ahead quite a bit. I'm not a drummer. I when I play the drums, they sound bad. That's why I play the guitar. It sounds slightly better than bad, but that's another story. What did I notice from those performances? The '89 one, that's from an official video release that they made. May have been edited a little bit. Sounded great, though. The '97 performance sounded a bit sloppy, but still fine. And it did. I did watch that whole video, and I did notice that maybe Lars was slightly off the slightly off the beat a little bit as they kind of came out of that and into the next part. But Kirk's guitar was also a little wild and all over the place. The 2008 performance, in my opinion, was probably the sloppiest of them all, and it was the most poorly filmed. But I will say Kirk seemed a little sloppier in that one, and it seemed a little bit rushed maybe. But I still think that the fill coming at the end of the solo was fine. Now, here's where I'm going to disagree with almost all the comments that came in about him getting worse and being lazy and blah, blah, blah. Because that performance from 2024, which again, I didn't cherry pick. It's the first one I found. It sounds great. They all sound great. Kirk's playing sounds better. The timing of everything sounds great. I thought that was the best performance of the pick. Let me know what you think in the comments. But does that sound like someone getting worse with time? I don't know. So you let me know in the comments what you think of that compilation. But I guess my summary is that in the age of YouTube prodigies and trigger happy, new metal bands where everything is perfect, and it almost just sounds like a fucking MIDI track playing through. I went and saw a couple of bands. I went and saw Coheed and Cambria, who were fantastic, but they were supported by a couple of bands. And in terms of drumming and guitaring and musicianship, yeah, it was top notch, but it just sounded like machinery. It didn't sound like humans interacting and making something that humans interact to. It doesn't sound great to me. And there's a million technically great drummers on YouTube who can play anything flawlessly. There's that guy, I think he's South American, and he can play shit with like one hand that guys, used to kind of salivate over playing. He can play Rush with his eyes closed. He's amazing. But does he play on anything that I'm ever going to listen to? And what is the value of content? If you're talking about art versus content, as somebody who's making a video, which is pure content, I can admit this is disposable. If you're interested in this topic, or if you follow my channel, you'll watch this once, but you're not going to take it with you in life. Maybe some talking points that I made resonate with you, but you're not going to take this. You're not going to be driving down the highway with the sun just kissing the edge of the horizon and a beautiful person next to you, and you're not going to be like, man, I could really listen to that fucking YouTube video I heard several months ago with the bald guy defending Lars Ulrich. What's the difference between art and content? And are we judging art on the merits of performance and creativity and passion and expression of the human soul, or are we judging it based purely on execution? Because I played in small scenes, and I know musicians who are fantastic execution-wise, but they will never achieve any kind of success because it's lacking something original and something connective. I've made music in my time that I'm very proud of, but just didn't have connective power, didn't have resonance with people. And I think that, there's a bunch of nobodies who are probably great musicians, probably definitely better than drummers than Lars. I played with probably 3 drummers that are probably better than Lars. Would they be better in Metallica? Probably not. Could they do it? Definitely. But they're not Lars. And Lars was part of the formation of something, as somebody pointed out in the comments, it's not replicatable. They were a massive band. And I think he was a great driving part of the creation of that band and the ideas that form the foundation of what Metallica is. And I don't think we're going to get bands like that anymore. And I think that the kind of nitpicking that we see online is probably part of the reason. People can't agree on anything. People can't agree. You post a picture of almost anything online that's remotely interesting if people have 10 different opinions about it. We no longer get our stuff from single sources like radio or MTV. So there's probably never going to be another band like Metallica, and there couldn't have been another band like Metallica without Lars Ulrich. Is he a little bit older? Has he lost a step? Most definitely. But I want you to think about this. Find 3 60-year-old people in your life personally and ask yourself if they could get up there and play drums for Metallica. Let's just assume they have the ability. Do they have the fitness, the stamina? Maybe Lars doesn't practice as much as he should, but when you're on tour, playing a 3-hour show every night, how much practice do you really need? And what does Metallica and Lars Ulrich owe us? What do we really want to them? Do we want to go and see them play like a fucking machine to a click track and a MIDI reel, the same damn show over and over and over and over again? Or do we want Lars and all of his sloppy little mistakes and all of the history and happiness that Metallica has given us? Let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you feel inclined to do so. Take very good care of yourself, and we'll see you later.